for being here, for to have this interactive session with me. And I would like actually to congratulate all of you also for actually embarking this journey. So I hope this journey would be really fun, and I hope and pray that everyone will actually reach your destination. All right. So today's session is more on sharing. Okay. So I will share based on my knowledge as well as based on my experience. So if you have any questions as we go along, either actually you can interrupt me or you can actually to save the questions at the end of the session. Okay. The session is only 2 hours. It's only more on discovering the basic information or knowledge relating what is research problem. Okay, and I can see some of the students are pretty senior. Okay, and I hope this the session not only benefit for those who just started their journey, but also for those actually are almost at the end of their progress towards achieving your PhD. And I think this is very beneficial because at the end of your PhD, actually that is the end of your training as researcher. Because once you get your PhD, now you will embark a real journey as a researcher. So to become a prolific researcher, we need actually to keep going on getting new information, new knowledge. Okay, let's start right away. Okay, so this is the purpose of today's session is on to enable all of the students to understand the importance of research problem and be able actually to describe the component of research problem, and finally able to develop a research problem. So I think this is very important because most of researcher, they actually are struggling to come up with a good research proposal for any grants, international grant or national grant, because they are unable actually to nail the most important part of the research, which is on research problem. So there is a little bit background of myself relating to all my education journey before actually presenting to you today. All right. What is research? Okay. When you guys actually embark on research, what is research? Okay, it's a systematic investigation into and a study of material and source in order to establish facts and research new conclusions. This is why you need actually 3 years, 4 years, even in US, you need actually to complete 6 years in order to become a good researcher. Okay, because we train you to become an investigator, and when you would like actually to lay out the information, it need to be done in a very systematically way. Okay, so regardless where you're going to do your PhD or where you're going to do your research, the system or the steps would be the same. Okay, so this is important part of research. Okay, so once we do a research, what's the point of do research? Because we would like to investigate. Okay, we like to investigate among who are the population, the community that we are interested into. Why we need actually to carry out the research? What we would like to do that research? Okay, when we are going to carry out the research? Where and how? These are all the information that as an investigator we need actually to keep questioning ourselves. So the most important part in carry out research, there should be a problem. If there is no problem, meaning there is no purpose actually to carry out investigation. If there is no problem, if there is no issue, there is no curiosity to actually to explore, to implore on that certain issues or a viewpoint. There must be a problem. Okay, it can be problem in the society, it can be problem at the national level, it can be a problem in terms of the literature, the gaps of the body of knowledge, and these all actually instigate us to carry out a research. Okay, why actually we need to investigate? because we would like to find a solution. Okay, if for example we start the investigation, we already know what are the solutions, meaning there is no purpose actually for you carry out a research because you already know what's the solution. But unfortunately, a solution without a proper investigation would not give you a good opportunity to come up with a solid solution. So that's why we need to carry out an investigation. So the research problem is the main focal part in research. Okay, whatever research we are wanted actually to do, the most important part, people will ask you, what is the problem? What is the issue? This is the focal point. So what is a problem? Research problem. So research problem is a specific questions, problem, or difficulty that need to be investigated and analyzed. So I would like to actually to get your attention, the word specific. Okay, so you need actually to narrow down what are the issues that you like actually to address. It cannot be general. Okay, it cannot be subjective. It has to be objective. Okay, because research need to be completed in certain period of time, but it can be carried out from time to time. Okay, longitudinal and so on. Okay, so but it need actually to reach to certain point that you'll be able actually to provide a solution to that problem. I remember many years ago when I did my PhD, so I had this one guy who's very smart, and he came for the first presentation to share our research proposal. He already told the supervisors, I know what type of solution that I'm going to come up with. These are the expected solution. So I remember my supervisors were saying that if you already know the solution, there's no point actually to do your research. And if for PhD, it's going to be very dangerous because you tend to be judgmental. You're going to commit a crime of prejudgment, okay, presumption, assumption. We assume that this is the solution. This is very dangerous, okay? It cannot be assumed. It need actually to be investigated. It need actually to be explored. You need to understand what are the hidden underneath problem that need to be discovered. Right. So these are some of the things that people might be boggling. What is the difference between problem statement versus research problem? So sometimes it can be interchangeable, but according to one author, this is the difference. So problem statement is a clear statement, okay, that the problem states. Okay, so it also actually provide an evidence to support the existing of the problem. Okay, evidence of existing trend. Okay, that led to the problem. The definition of the major concept and term that can be provided. Okay, a clear description of the setting, a probable causes related to the problem, and finally a specific and feasible problem. While the research problem is a clear let me see. Okay, so let me adjust my screen a little bit. Okay, so research problem, this is the area of conflict, okay, concern or controversy. This is a gap between what is wanted, what is observed. Include the most relevant reference that support the claim. So basically, when people are asking you about the research problem, you are going to describe the problem statement. Okay, so I would normally recommend that problem statement should not be more than 2 pages. More than 2 pages is going to be too lengthy. Okay, the reader might lose focus in understanding what is your problem. So I'm gonna explain detail what is a research problem later on, but you'll be able actually to see that sometimes I'm going to repeat the same issues again and again because I want actually to put the I would like actually to emphasize the importance of some of the elements. So this is a things that I would like actually to highlight before I go further. If you see from the points B and C, the word evidence, okay, evidence that support the existing problem. We cannot actually simply say that, for example, I cannot simply say, oh, I think most of the elementary school students are experiencing or are having depression. Okay, that is only a statement. Okay, or there's only hearsay that not supported by evidence. Okay, whatever problem that you wanted to highlight, it should be supported. So I'm going to show to you at the end of this session, towards the end of the session, some of the example. So you must also support the existing, the evidence of existing trend. So for example, if I said that Malaysia, most of the Malaysian are facing issues relating to obesity. Okay, how do I know about it? Is it 100% based on my observation? If it's based on my observation, I still need to find an evidence. I need actually to find a support to say that the issues that I try to highlight is valid. Okay, is legit. Okay, all right. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, why actually research problem is important? Okay, because it's established the importance of the topic. So you guys actually come up with a topic and you need actually to tell the reader that this topic is important. This topic need to be researched because if you do not carry out this research, it might actually lead to any issues, okay, any failures and so on. Okay, so you wanted to highlight the importance of the topic. If this research has not is not being carried out, what is the implication to the society? What's the implication to the nation? Okay, we need actually to tackle because because this is a problem, we need to find a solution very quick in order for to address that problem. So therefore, that consequences can be controlled. And it's also create the reader's interest. Okay, so wherever people read your problem, oh, wow, it gives a wow factor to your reader. This is very good. Okay, this is what happening currently. So we like actually how you're going to come up with the a solution. Okay, because we need actually to know, and we would like actually to make sure that this research is going to be completed and going to be shared with people, with the public, for example. And the third one is focus on readers' attention, on how the study will add to the literature. Okay, so wherever you carry out a research, especially for PhD student, I always actually emphasize this couple of times. When you carry out your research, always remember your role is to provide a solution to the community, to the industry. Okay, and at the same time, your responsibility to provide to the gap of to the body of knowledge. Okay, so you have two important responsibility when you carry out your research. Okay, so the purpose of research problem, once you have research problem, it helps you to become focused. So this is the focus. So because you're going to explain, you're going to lay out your research problem in chapter 1. Okay, so everything that you're going to introduce will be in chapter 1. So one of the most important part will be research problem. So once you go through chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and finally your chapter 5, that's going to be a chapter that you're going to show your solution. So your solution is going to address your research problem. So by having a very a focus, very clear research problem, it helps you actually to keep your foot on the right direction. And number two, it helps you actually to have a clear idea of framework for developing your research question or hypothesis. So research problem, and you can see from the graphic that I provide over here, number one is the context. Okay, help your introduction, help your reader to understand why actually this research is significant. Then the problem statement. Okay, describe a phenomenon in a very specific way, which is very precise. And then later on, you're going to create a purpose statement, because once you have problem statement, it can be branched toward purpose statement, later on your research question, and you're going to describe how actually method will be carried out to find the solution to your problem statement. So you can see that the problem statement constitute one of the biggest part in your research. Okay. So in the problem statement, okay, I'm going to use the word problem statement, a research problem interchangeably, okay, because at this level, we would actually regard problem statement and research problem as the same method, okay? Okay, so the point is, what should be happening compared to what actually happening, okay? So what should be happening? Let's say in Malaysia, the government spent billions of ringgit to build our public transport. Okay, so we have LRT, we have commuter, we have MRT, we have ERL. Okay, so because we will actually to improve the quality of traffic congestion, the environment pollution, as well as to increase the productivity of the country. But the problem is, the government has spent so much and hoping that the ridership would be like 90% or 80% to 90%. So most people actually will go for public transport instead of driving their own car. Okay, that should be happening. What is actually happening? Okay, only 20% in Malaysia is recorded between 20 to 30% of ridership. Okay, meaning that it has the existence of our public transport has not resolved the issues of traffic congestion. Okay, why? Okay, so you can see the gap between what should be happening and what actually happening. Why? Why is only 20 to 30%? Why actually the percentage of car being sold is increasing every year? Okay, those youngsters, those our graduate, once they graduated, they always think that they want actually to get a car. Okay, the first thing they need to get a car. By them buying a car, we actually add up more problem to our traffic congestion. So what need to be done? That is the issues that relating to that particular issues. Okay. Next is stating the research problem. Okay, before I go further, anybody have any questions? I know that sometimes when I'll speak, I tend actually to speak very fast. Okay, so you have any questions, you can actually put up in chat. Or you can actually ask questions over here that I actually can address that questions. It can be beneficial to other people as well. All right, let's move on. Okay, how actually to state the research problem? Okay, so first of all, to state the research problem, in the opening paragraph, okay, what is needed as a solution? Okay, what are the issues? So identify the issue. So the issue can be research-based problem or a practical problem. So for PhD, you must have two components, which I'm going to discuss after this. All right, so you must identify research-based research problem as well as practical problem. And reference for the problem must be included. Okay, and finally, okay, a common pitfall among the research problem is defining the problem based on the solution. So I think this is pretty common. When we see a problem, we automatically, unconsciously thinking about how it can be solved. Okay, based on our experience, based on our intuitive. Okay, and we thought that, oh, this pretty, I think this is a solution. So we tend to work backward. I know that, let me give an example. In Malaysia, our small and medium enterprises contribute to the national economy is only between 39% to 41%, okay, to the GDP. Okay, And yet Malaysia would like actually to become high income nation by 2030. For high income nation, the contribution of SME should be between 50 to 60% of their SMEs profit to the national economy. Okay, so meaning there is a gap. Okay, and I based on my a little bit reading, based on my observation, based on my discussion, perhaps with the friends, with industry players. So I think Malaysia SMEs need to be more innovative. Okay, they need to be more vibrant. They need to be more open. Okay, in terms of collaboration, that is based on my judgment. Okay, so and I think because that is what I thought, then I create a framework. I said, in order to increase or to improve the performance of the organizational performance of SMEs, these are the variables need to be added. Okay, that is very dangerous because that's 100% based on my own perception. I've seen some people who actually doing this. Okay, a lot of people actually they would like to take a shortcut. They always thought that I just wanted actually to get do the research quickly. When they simply actually plug in some of the variable based on their prejudgment, based on their own very scarce reading. I've seen at the end of their research, some of the variable would be not relevant. Okay, I've seen some people when they carry out a research, the whole item has to be dropped. Okay, it's not significant at all. It is not connected at all. Okay, so what's the purpose of doing research if we already have our own perception towards the solution? Okay, and I think this is another beauty part of doing research. You cannot actually quote unquote cheat in terms of carry out research. Okay, we always thought that I pick up one variable from other discipline, I pick up another variable from discipline, so I plug in into my variable to make it authentic, to make it different, to show that I have carried out a multidisciplinary action to put all these variables together, because I wanted to be different than other people. Then I simply actually run the data. I think this is the beauty part. And I find it very interesting. You cannot actually cheat in carry out research methodology. Okay, if you had not done a thorough reading relating to the variable that suitable to be included in your variable, when you carry out your data analysis later on, you can see that some of the variable, the item actually would be need to be deleted. Okay, it is considered outlier. Okay, it cannot be actually be included in your variable. I've seen some people had done it. So what's the point actually reaching to that stage by not reaching to that stage that you fail actually to bring out the best of your research. All right, next, let me move on to the next part. Okay, so this is to justify the importance of research problem. So number one, justification on what others research had done. Okay, so for example, I read a research relating to let's say relating to indigenous education. Okay, so I read it based on what has been done in Europe, what has been done in US, what has been done in China, okay, what has been done in Australia, for example. So based on that, I can see that what other people had done and what has not been done. Okay, we cannot simply actually replicate the model, the issues happen in other countries and bring it to our own country, because in our environment we have different factors. Okay, we have different ecosystem. Okay, so that's one example. Number two, justification based on personal or a workplace experience. Because I know some people, they work in the university, for example, they realize that these are the issues relating to our universities to perform because lacking of financials and so on. That is based on your experience. And again, even though it's based on your experience, you need actually to carry out your research to look up for what are the support that my personal experience actually is what actually happening out there. If I focus 100% on my own personal experience, it's gonna be too narrow. Okay, it's going to be too shallow because I'm the only one actually facing that problem. And if I carry out the research, it will only benefit me. It does not benefit other people because the purpose of doing research, you want to actually to contribute to the community, to the industry, to the nation. And finally, a justification based on the experience that others had had in the workplace. I remember a couple of years ago, I spoke to one teacher that teach in indigenous school in the very rural area. So he told me that the issues relating to the indigenous students, because they do not interested to go to school, so their dropout rate is very high. Okay, so he was thinking that what need to be done. Okay, so he said, I have done this, I have done that, but I do not know what else can be done. Okay, because that based 100% on his experience. So we actually sat down and we actually start thinking that this research topic actually can be researchable. Okay, it's a good topic to be carried out an investigation or research. So I will share with you later on how actually we come up with the research proposal. Okay. All right, let's move to this interesting part, how to locate research problem. Okay, so one idea actually how to locate a research problem, when you guys actually reading literature, okay, you get a lot of articles, you read the article, the first paragraph, the introduction, it actually not only they introduce you to the topic, but actually they also mention about the problem. Why actually the motivation to carry out that research, and why actually they put up this paper. So you can read on the opening paragraph. Okay, so you can look at what is the issue, okay, or problem. What controversy leads to the need of the research, okay, or the study. What concern is being addressed behind the study. And is there a sentence such as the problem addressed in this study is what? Okay, the motivation of this study is what? Or this paper attempt to identify what? Okay, this is how actually you can locate in the paper. So if, for example, another part actually to locate, this is for research problem. But if you would like actually to locate the future research, you can read on the conclusion. Okay, so determining whether a problem should be researched. This is some of the questions that you will actually to question yourself. If, for example, I'm interested to study research relating to depression among elementary school children. Okay, so the first question I need actually to ask, can I study the problem? Okay, is it researchable? Okay, do I have access to the research site? Can I go to school? Can I approach the student? Can I approach the teachers? Okay, do I have the time? Do I have the resources? Do I have skill to carry out research? Okay, so if, for example, I wanted actually to interview those children who I think might have issues relating to depression. Do I have a skill to actually to sit down with the children to understand and to diagnose or to perhaps identify the symptom of depression? Okay, if I do not have that, perhaps I should have someone actually can assist me on that. Okay, the other part is, do you have the time? Okay, because some people they put up a research. I would like actually to do the comparison. I remember one of my friends, she wanted actually to do a research relating to halal perception among Muslim travelers. Okay, so she said that, and we were asking her, who's going to be a respondent? She said that travelers that traveling to non-Muslim countries. Okay, where's non-Muslim countries? It could be in Australia. It could be in London. Okay, it could be in Canada. So the next question, are you going to travel to those countries? Do you have the time? Do you have the resources? Okay, because she said she cannot carry out the online study, online research, because she need to have face-to-face, then only she can get details on the information. That is some of the challenges that you might face, that your examiner, the panel, might not be okay. Should you study the problem? Okay, is it important? Does it advance the knowledge? Okay, does it contribute to the practice? So when we mention the word practice, meaning that you are contributing to the commodity. You're contributing, for example, if I wanted to carry out research relating to school children, relating to depression, do I contribute to the education, okay, scenario? Do I contribute to the nation in terms of the well-being? Okay, do I contribute to the knowledge? What is the gap in terms of knowledge? What else has not been researched that I discover one important variable? Okay, that is one part, and how actually to determine whether the research problem should be researched up. And will your study fill up a gap or void in the existing literature? Okay, and the beauty part of literature, it never end. Okay, it always grow. Okay, now we're talking about 2023. What happened in 1980s? What happened in 1990s? Year 2000, 2010 onwards, and now we're talking about 2023. Okay, so there's huge or many things happen. The children mindsets have been different. Okay, the approach totally different. Okay, so therefore the variable that being used, for example, if I were to refer to a theory of planned behavior, okay, a theory of TAM, adoption model, okay, a technology adoption model. Not all variable under that theory you can use in 2023, because it's no more relevant. People don't talk about technology adoption anymore. Okay, we are talking about technology utilization. Okay, so perhaps that model, that theory, need actually to be revisited, need to be added with other variables. Okay, need to be added with other new construct. Okay, that suitable in 2023 and onwards. Okay, number two, will your study replicate a past study, but examine different participants, different research sites? Okay, so for example, in Australia, they had this social innovation to help those people, those persons with disabilities, to go through their rehabilitation and to participate economically, to participate in economy. Okay, can I replicate that model from Australia to Malaysia? Okay, then some factors need to be explored. For example, in Australia, the government and also NGO be able to raise a lot of fund, okay, to finance their social innovation. How about in Malaysia? Okay, we perhaps we do not have that luxury to have that kind of approach, but it can be done differently. Okay, because right after pandemic, more and more NGO has been created, developed, and established, and people are more generous. Okay, in Malaysia, another things about volunteerism. we do not um not really we are not willing to volunteer our time, but we willing to volunteer our money. Okay, so I have not carried out the research, but based on my little bit reading, I found that people actually will support NGOs. People will support good cause, but they are not into volunteerism spirit yet. Okay, we need actually to educate more people, but people willing actually to donate money. Okay, but not time. All right. The third one, will your study extend past research and examine the topic more thoroughly? So, for example, I want actually to study the influence of social media on youngsters or Gen Z purchasing behavior. Okay, so previous study had carried out research in terms of social media influencing people purchasing behavior, but now I actually would like to focus on Gen Z. Okay, those people who born in year 2000, okay, onwards, because they are IT savvy, they are smarter, they are brave, okay, they are intelligent, and yet they are they don't have that strong purchasing power, but they utilize their parents. Okay, they know how to influence their parents to to support their purchase behavior. What are other new elements need to be included? Okay, because we are talking about younger generation. We are talking about the current environment where you can actually order anything at your fingertips. The whole process of buying can be completed within 1 minute. Okay, that is new variable that you need actually. You perhaps you can discover. The fourth one, will your study give voice to people not heard, silenced or rejected in the society? So for example, um, marginalized community. Who are the marginalized community? We're talking about marginalized community, but how many people actually carry out research relating to these people? Who are these marginalized community? Who are not heard? Okay, who are being marginalized in the community? Perhaps persons with disability. Okay, those people who are um, uh, the hardcore poor, okay, or perhaps those people who transgender, okay. These are the some of these issues that relating in the society. So and nobody actually carry out research relating to them. Okay, so that could be a good a problem that you can do research. Okay, and will your study inform practice? Okay, so for example, just now I talk about SMEs, organizational performance. Okay, so once I carry out research, the finding of that research, can I actually inform the industry? How do I inform the study? How do I inform the industry? Okay, if I publish academic paper, they would not read it. Or should I come up with a paper in the newspapers? Or should I actually conduct a conference? Or should I conduct a workshop? Should I actually participate in the industry's program event? Or should I come up with my innovation? Okay, so I think a majority of you have attended TIE Squared. Okay, you need actually to come up with a product or a prototype or product that you can bring to the society. Okay, that is the noble part of being a researcher. Okay, all right. Now we are coming to the part, the component of the research. Okay, so the component of research problem. Okay, what is the component of research problem? Okay, these are two parts, which is very critical. Okay, so when I read any thesis, when I read any research proposal, I will look out for this. Okay, number one, normally we start with practice. Okay, what are the current issues? What is happenings and what should be happenings? Okay, you need to provide statistics. Okay, so what are the current issues? I'm going to share with you the example, what is meant by practical or what is relating to practice. And number two, theoretical. Area of concern where there is a gap in the knowledge base needed for professional practices. So for example, the variables that you like actually to include in your research. Why you need actually to study pertaining to that certain variables. Okay, perhaps it has no studies has further explored in depth. Okay, so perhaps the current variable has been merged with other construct, okay, that need to be researched. Okay, this is a two main component should exist in your research problem. Okay, what is current issue? Just now I mentioned about depression among elementary school students. This, for example, are the topic of the research. The influence of social media. For your information, a report has stated that by 2030, about 4 million of elementary school children in Malaysia are suffering from depression. When I mention according to the report, I need to state which report, okay? Because to show that is the previous study had carried out by certain agencies, certain parties to show this is a problem, okay? If people found out this is a problem, so what are action being taken? You cannot actually approach the children and saying that, are you depressed? Okay, what are the elements that contribute to your depression? You cannot simply say that. Okay, so for example, I wanted to include social media. What are the elements in the social media? Okay, so I'm going to share with you later on what are the models perhaps relating to this. Or perhaps the current issue, quality life balance, psychology, sociology, and lifestyle impact on obesity. A study has shown that 40% of Malaysians are obese. Okay, 40% of Malaysians are obese. If obesity going up, what's the impact to the society? What's impact to the economy? What's impact to the country? Okay, so there are so many issues. Okay, because in Singapore, for example, they had tackled on these issues of obesity by government actually going down in detail what are the causes of the obesity. So in Singapore, this is based on my reading. In Singapore, the government even go down, talk to the food court operator to check on their menu and to observe how they cook certain food, because they wanted actually to reduce cholesterol, fats, okay, to make sure that the food served healthy, okay, because they try to tackle issues like diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, because all these are actually relating to obesity. This problem, for example, current issue. So once you understand what's the current issue, you need actually to get statistics to support those issues and to show that this is the real, legit problem faced in the society and it needs to be tackled. What are the consequences if not these issues are not being tackled? And based on the theoretical gap, you need actually to look up for what has not been explored, less or no information, okay, on certain variable, okay, a certain construct, for example. Perhaps in terms of theory of plant behavior, it's outdated research, okay, and this theory has been extensively used. Okay, currently I've seen some people put up research, they will actually to use TPB, okay, theory of plant behavior. It's okay, you can actually use that theory, but it has to be related. That theory is already outdated. Perhaps there's a new construct, new approach need to be done to be added. Okay, same thing like a resource-based theory or resource-based view. Okay, it being used extensively, but you can see that from time to time people keep doing research. They add new information to that RBT or RB view. Okay, so that body of knowledge grow. New things have been added that relate and significant to the current situation. And the third one, to provide direction to the research. This is the research gap. So I will share with you later on how actually to find that research gap. Okay. So the next part is the characteristic of effective research problem. Okay. I think I'll be able to finish it quickly. Okay, not even 2 hours. Okay, but I hope we can actually use that some of the time to go for some Q&A. Otherwise, a characteristic of effective research problem. Okay, so number one, it must reflecting on issues. Okay, or required knowledge in particular field prior to conducting a study. Okay. I realized that a lot of people, when they actually started doing research, they come up with a title. It's okay to come up with a title. And because that titles can be revised later on. Okay, to come up with a title to give you some ideas what area you wanted to focus. Then later on, you're going to read that particular issues. Okay, another thing that I would like to highlight over here as well. Let's say, I would like actually to focus research relating to a purchase intention, okay, among the youngsters. When I mention the purchase intention, that's going to be my dependent variable, okay, because I would like to know how these people react, how these people behave relating to their purchase practice. Okay, and I need to read. That's going to be my main point in my reading. So I'm going to read many literatures. Okay, so perhaps not necessarily that I'm going to read papers relating to marketing. So perhaps I read paper relating to emotional intelligence, paper relating to sociology, psychology, or even economics and so on, to give me a complete idea of how actually many factors actually contribute to the research. And the beauty part of doing research, because as though you are standing in one part of the ocean, and the ocean is going to be very huge, very wide. Okay, there are many factors can be chosen. Okay, and some examiner might ask you why you choose this variable, why you choose not to choose this variable, because as a researcher you have the prerogative to choose which variable that you think suitable, but it has to be done through literature review. Okay, you cannot, even though I mentioned that you have that privilege to choose any variable, but it has to be done through literature review. Okay, because that helps you to be more subjective in discussing your, more objective and objective to discuss on your topic. Number two is ensuring that the topic you aim has a sufficient amount of relevant data. Let's say I wanted to carry out a research relating of entrepreneurship among transgender. Okay, there are a lot of a few successful transgender business person, okay, in Malaysia. Do I have sufficient enough respondent actually to participate in my research? Okay, if I do not have enough respondent, meaning that my finding cannot be generalized later on, or my the data that need to be collected is very confidential. For those people actually doing research on secondary or on finance or economics, for example, you cannot have access to certain data. That could be an issue later on. Okay, that's why when you go for your DRP, your defense proposal, we always ask you, what's your database? Okay, who's going to be a respondent? How are you going to approach these people? I know one researcher. She wanted actually to carry out a research among refugees. Okay, refugees in Malaysia. So the panel would like to ask, how many refugees are they located in one place, or they scattered throughout Malaysia? Can you actually approach these people, or is there any rules and regulation that you have to observe in order for you actually to reach this respondent? That is some of the main concern. And the third one, relying on the reputable evidence and data and disregarding information that you cannot verify. That could be a good elements of effective research problem. And number four, your research problem remain practical, manageable, communicative with researchers involved in data collection and analysis. And finally, your research problem adhering strictly to a budget and timeline. Okay, so I always encourage my students, be focused. Okay, I know that a lot of us, when we start our research journey, we tend to be very ambitious. We wanted actually to do this, we wanted to do that, and you have a very short period to complete your PhD. Okay, even though we are talking about 4 years, very fast, time is flying. Okay, now we are talking about, we are already in May 2023. Okay, so whatever you wanted to do, be specific, measurable, attainable, and timely. Okay, this is the characteristic of effective research problem. Okay, let's move on to the characteristics of effective research problem. In short, it has to be brief. Okay, I mentioned it, when I started this session, your research problem statement should not exceed 2 pages. If you stated 2 pages, meaning that you are duplicating some of the information in introduction and some of the information in significance of study, some of the information for your literature review. So you're going to put a lot of points that readers fail to understand. Okay, they're unable to see what's the real problem, because so many things. That's why in your research thesis, we already show to you the format. It start with chapter 1. What should be in chapter 1? What should be in chapter 2? What should be in chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5? It's very systematic. Okay, meaning that what should be in what it should be in introduction should remain in introduction. What should be in problem statement should be in problem statement. So your research problem should be brief. Okay, it should be clear. Okay, it should be well defined. Okay, you need to do your research problem again and again, and keep reading it. Okay, and get somebody else to read. Do they understand? Is it clear? Is this what you wanted to do? Because sometimes when we are doing the research again and again, you are so familiar with the topic. By you actually glance through your statement, you already understood, but not for other people. Okay, make sure your research problem statement easy to follow through. And finally, precise description of the problem. Okay, identification of research problem. Okay, how you're going to start to understand your research problem is start with a broad topic, broad research area. Then slowly you are going to bring it to specific research questions or problem. So the point is, you will actually to questions why this research is important. Okay, so you wanted to highlight that. Okay, what's the gap in terms of knowledge, and what are the potential implication and application? So I attended a couple of other talk as well, and the same thing, people are talking about broad topic. Start with a broad topic. Okay, so for example, I talk about traffic congestion, travel behavior in Malaysia, for example. Okay, what's my broad topic? My broad topic, I'll start with what are the current situation in Malaysia. How many cars on the road? So for those our foreign students, we just celebrated our Eid. Okay, one of the biggest celebration in Malaysia. Okay, and because it's right after, it is just 1 year after the pandemic, a lot of people want actually to go home. Okay, for those for that celebration, because it fell during a weekend, so we have 4 days. We I think about 4 days of public holidays, and people travel to their hometown. It was said that about 2.3 million cars on the road. Okay, so if this 2.3 cars on the road, and people, if they need to travel about 3 hours to reach their hometown during this time, they would travel about 6 to 8 hours. Okay, it be extended. And I read some people even travel for 12 hours. Okay, just to reach their hometown. Okay, so what are the broad topic that we would like to discuss? A lot of people in Malaysia, the purchase behavior relating to cars is increasing. Because it's increasing, it create more congestion. Okay, and the government need to build more road. Okay, more route. Okay, so even though it created or it established more road, widen up the road and so on, it has not solved the problem. Okay, so because of that, a lot of people reach office later, reduce the productivity and so on. That is a broad area. So I need actually to go more specific. Okay, what is specific? So I go to specific, more specific questions. The government has spent so much money to build our infrastructure. Why people do not use public transport? Why? Okay, so these are the questions, my research question. Why people do not use public transport? So what are the elements relating to the attitude or the behavior relating to traveling, okay, public transport ridership in Malaysia. Okay, so from broad topic to specific problem. So you can also start broad topic in relating what's happening in other country. Then start focusing in your own scenario. Okay, so for example, the open innovation among the SMEs in countries like Sweden, in country like Denmark, should the SMEs be able to perform better. Okay, so so what are the elements? So they wrote down into innovation has been practiced in Malaysia since what year? Okay, however, the level of innovation in Malaysia has not reached the intended level, perhaps based on our intellectual property level, based our innovation index level and so on. Okay, that is to how to identify research problem. All right, so again, good research problem, okay, reflect critical need and issues, okay, and it should be relevant and manageable, okay, it should be factual, evident, not hypothetical as its basis, okay, it should be meaningful, and your hypothesis should be testable, okay, all right, that is a good research problem, because from your research problem, you'll be able to construct a good research question. You'll be able to construct good research objective, and it helps you to develop your hypothesis. Okay, that to show that how important is to do a good research problem. All right, next, how to formulate a research problem. So number one, specify your study objective. Okay, what area that you would like to focus? Who's going to be your respondent? What are the issues? Then review the environment or context of your research. Then determine the nature of your study problem. The fourth one, determine how variables relate. Okay, the first three is about your practice. Okay, about the practical or the issues, the current issues. And number four is about the variable, is more on literature. Determine how variables relate. And finally, research problem structure. So you can actually construct. You're going to start with the practical part, then followed with the theoretical. Okay, I've done in sharing on the theoretical part of what is research problem. Now I would like to share the example. Okay, the example how actually to do a good research problem. So this is the one of the research, inclusive social innovation education for indigenous students, extending social innovation model. Okay, so in this research, okay, the researcher focus on the Malaysia Education Blueprint. Okay, what's the Malaysia Education Blueprint? If you read this blueprint, the government target in the wave 1, okay, 5 system aspiration, 100% of children in Malaysia have access to education, 100%. Okay, so if there is a dropout among this marginalized community, so meaning that the aspiration has not been achieved. Okay, so this is the title. Okay, let's take a look on the problem statement. Okay, the problem statement is start with something broad. Okay, education is a highly regulated field with many identified deficits and limitations, often leading to inequalities and disadvantages for specific groups. Nevertheless, education provides the key to self-determination and active and equal social participation. Okay, all right. However, the rate of dropout among indigenous students is alarming. Okay, the rate of school drops, okay, among indigenous students is alarming. That is only a hearsay. Okay, this is only perhaps the researcher words. It needs to be supported by evidence. What are the evidence? In 2018, 26,571 indigenous or orang asli, because in Malaysia we call it orang asli, peoples enroll on primary schools. However, only 50% registered for secondary schools, while the enrollment for primary school in 2019 slightly decreased to 2016. In secondary school, enrollment went down more than 40%. So where they get the information? They get that information from this year 2020, as well from the NST 2022, Bernama 2020, Khalid 2019. Okay, so those who drop out has no qualification and are scared to meet outsider. That's a problem. This is a problem. This is another problem. And furthermore, without having SPM certificates, which is high school certificates, they have difficulty finding jobs, which may lead to depression. This is the importance why this research need to be carried out. Okay, and when I mentioned over here, those dropout have no qualification and are scared to meet outsider. No qualification meaning that is going to be a burden to the government because they will contribute to the unemployment rate. Okay, those depression, they might will contribute to the issues to the wellness. Okay, a report by YA 2020 found that education gap persists between these indigenous children and non-indigenous children until today, despite continuous effort and investment. Okay, so these are the issue. Okay, so the Education Ministry and other agencies have developed many initiatives to curb the dropout rate of indigenous people. However, the rate remained the same and even worse among certain ethnic indigenous people. So the statement, the earlier statement is all supported by evidence. Okay, this is the practical current issues. Okay, so why actually this report, why actually this research is important? Okay, so if the rate of the indigenous student keep increasing, okay, more and more students actually been dropped out, meaning that the blueprint that we mentioned just now, okay, the blueprint, the Malaysia education blueprint failed actually to achieve its KPI. Okay, it is a performance indicator. Okay, so this issue, okay, let me see. Okay, so these issues also relating to SDG 2030. Okay, so you can see from SDG 2030, if the children do not have qualification, perhaps they might actually they might fall into SDG number 1. Okay, SDG number 2. Okay, SDG number 5, quality of education, couple of SDG. So that's why actually is important. And again, is also actually would not actually would not fulfill the government inspiration in their education blueprint. So that's why this research is important. So if, for example, you read detail on this topic, we found out that why actually these indigenous students are unable to stay in schools. Okay, let me go to the theoretical first before I actually further elaborate on that. All right, on the theoretical part, Okay, so the first part just now, this is the first part in research problem. Okay, the first part. Okay, the second part would be on theoretical. Okay, so on the theoretical, the exclusion or de-evaluation of indigenous pedagogies can create a barrier to academic success of indigenous students, limit a genuine understanding of indigenous culture and history for all students, and prevent people from learning how to exercise high valuable and helpful mode of thought that could put potential problem to the modern world. Okay, so you can see the onward study has shown that social innovation is an alternative to improving community through innovative activities and let me see. And services innovation is motivated by meeting a social need. That's the introduction of what you wanted to include in your research. All right. So you can see over here a couple of points that are being highlighted. And over here in this research, they would like actually to explore on social learning theory. So they mention first the social learning theory that support the social innovation model provide an excellent opportunity for students to react based on social modeling and good behavior, as these are powerful classroom tools. Okay, it has to be supported by evidence. However, okay, social learning theory focuses only on 4 elements, namely attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. Okay, so you highlight in terms of what actually not adequate. Then, however, to tackle these indigenous students through social learning theory and social innovation model, elements relating to their culture, lifestyle, ecosystem should be integrated. So you can see that why actually those elements need to be integrated. Evidence from literature has been added. Okay, added to support why this need to be. Why actually other study had highlighted on the importance of the element, but is not included under social learning theory. Okay, so that is example. So, all right. So let me go back to this topic. If you go read further, this is only a problem statement. To be focused, what are the issues? Okay, but you can do later on in literature. It found out that why the children of indigenous children drop out from school, because the system do not cater to their needs. Okay, let's say you, me can stay in this session for the last 1 hour. Okay, but not for them. They need actually, their attention span is very short. They wanted actually perhaps after 20 minutes, they need actually to do something else, because this group, they love music, they love sport. Okay, so perhaps you need actually to include those kind of elements in the concept. So actually, this is based on our reading. We found out that they love music, they love dancing, and they are very protective of their culture. So perhaps those elements should be in the education approach for these children. So perhaps in order for them to study mathematics, what are the indigenous elements can you include? Okay, and perhaps rather than for them actually to sit still for 1 hour, 2 hours in school, some of the activities need to be done. Okay, that is what we thought. Okay, but we need to carry out research. What types of element need to be included? Is it in terms of psychology? Is it in terms of sociology? Is it in terms of pedagogy? Okay, there are many big question mark that need to be addressed. Okay, I would like you guys actually to take part in this activity. Okay, this is one of the topic, the moderating effect of innovation capability on the corporate entrepreneurship and organizational performance of logistic industry in Malaysia. So they started with the introduction. Okay, introduction. despite the growing trend of logistic activities, there are a limited source of literature on SMEs logistic. Okay, so they put here, thus, in-depth research in area of influencing factor of competitive advantage progression on logistic is still lacked. Okay, the Malaysian logistic industry has been recognized globally. In fact, the Global Logistic Performance Index (LPI) in 2018 by World Bank has ranked Malaysia at 41st place out of 166 countries. The index also relates to the performance of SMEs. Nevertheless, in-depth research in logistics is still lacking, despite research studies in Malaysian context, such as logistic service quality, logistic development, logistic issues and challenges, the study on logistic performance of SMEs from the context of corporate entrepreneurship and innovation capability is discussed. Okay, my question to my question to all of you. Is this statement strong enough for a good to address the current issues? Is it acceptable? Anybody actually would like to say something? All right, anybody would like to comment? Sarah, would you like to comment, Sarah?
I think from my perspective, it's okay, strong enough, because from what I read, they have a problem and there's a gap there.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Okay, good point. Okay, Zura? Any idea, Zura?
And doctor, and also is supported by statistic.
Good. Okay, all right. Okay. Besides Sarah, anybody else?
Morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Just asking, based on the research problem had written, is it necessary to address some organizational performance issue of SME to strengthen the research problem?
Okay. Are you referring to this? The same. Are you asking me a questions, or you like respond to this?
Actually, my response lah. I think it's better to have some issues that we highlighted on the organizational performance of SME itself at the beginning of the research problem.
All right, great. Okay, fantastic, Rosanna. Okay, any others?
Doctor,
Yeah, hi.
I would like to try.
Yes.
And to me, it's not so strong because it just stated growing trend, but we didn't know what trend is that. And then in the highlighted part, it just stated the logistic issues and challenges, but it doesn't like stated what is the issues and challenges. That's from me.
All right, great. Okay, thank you very much, ladies. Okay, all the things that you guys mentioned is legit. Okay, number one. When he mentioned over here, the in-depth research in the area influencing factors of competitive advantage progression on Malaysia logistics is still lack. That is very subjective. That is 100% his statement. Okay, is there any evidence? Okay, so again, Rosanna mentioned that organizational performance need to be included. That's very true. Okay, need to be included because what is the performance of logistic of SMEs currently in Malaysia? How much they contribute to the nation? What should be happening? What is actually happening? Let's say it's expected because logistic industry in Malaysia, let's say should contribute 10% to the GDP, but they contribute only 4%. Okay, that showed a huge issue. That's a huge issue. Why actually logistics not perform? Why? Okay, that big question mark. Why? Okay, so all these need to be evidence. Okay, so even though Sarah mentioned that evidence has been included, citation, for example, but this is only more on information. For example, World Bank ranked Malaysia at 41 place out of 66. What does it mean? Okay, so meaning that who actually higher than us? If, for example, other countries better than us, ASEAN countries better than us, why we are not performing? Okay, that's another issue. So it mentioned over here, nevertheless, in-depth research in logistics is lacking. D is considered premature statement. Okay, it need to be supported. Okay, so over here it mentioned that logistics service studies relating to service quality, blah blah, and so on, challenges. Okay, whatever corporate entrepreneurship and innovation capability, CSCAS. Okay, because he include this on literature in this part on current issues. Okay, so before let me finish up on this topic before I address questions in a chat. Okay, all right. And then he added over here, okay, additionally, profit are shrinking mostly on the reason of on increase of the operating cost. Who said this? Okay, you need actually to include statistic. If you can get statistic, that's fantastic. If not, it has to be supported. It can be supported by newspaper. It can be supported by articles. All right, for your information, most of evidence that you need under practical, it might not be in literature. It might not be in academic paper. It might not, but sometimes it can be in academic paper. But mostly is what actually been discussed in newspaper, been discussed in the report, and so on. Okay, most of the, you need to have that evidence. So, and another thing that I would like to highlight to you, under practical issues, okay, or problem statement relating to practice or current issues, it has to be recent. Okay, so for example, you just started your PhD this year. It has to be 2022, okay, 2023. The most you can go down 2021, not more, not far than that. Okay, meaning that the topic is still relevant. Just now I mentioned to you the depression among school children. The evidence that I should get should be 2021 and onward. Okay, because you wanted to show that this is current problem. I cannot talk about in 2019, 2018, that's before the pandemic, because the pandemic has transformed the infrastructure, has changed our ecosystem. That is no more relevant. Okay, so now we're talking about the current. So under the practical issue, it has to be very recent. Okay, all right. So let's move on theoretical. Okay, so this is what actually he described under theoretical. Innovation, and remember I mentioned that you need actually to discuss on it. Okay, so he mentioned this, innovation is significant issues for SME survival in dynamic competitive environment. This is general. Which SMEs? We do not know. But how innovation increase performance, especially SMEs and logistics, remain inconclusive and need further investigation. All right. Forsman 2011. Okay, so if, for example, you have a little bit, this is considered outdated, 2011. We are talking about 12 years ago. I would actually encourage you, you can add Forsman, but you need also to find out the latest literature to support this. Okay, so the question is even more critical for SMEs because factors that increase innovation processes remain ambiguous. Okay, so you can see the first paragraph that I read just now hardly mentioned about logistics. Okay, but he mentioned about SMEs. Okay, all right, but this need to be further explored. Okay, when he mentioned remain unconclusive and need further investigation, it need to be a little bit explored. Okay, so for example, innovation that has been explored more towards management rather than operation, according to who and who. Okay, and innovation is very significant for logistic. Okay, because it what. Okay, so you want actually to relate innovation and logistic SMEs. Prior research on corporate entrepreneurship has attempted to clarify the scope of this construct, its antecedent and output and boundaries of condition of this link. Okay, so he put prior research. Who? Okay, so citations needed over here. Nevertheless, less effort has been devoted to reviewing, organizing previous study to identify our knowledge gap available to the future research. This according to Sadari. Okay, so according to Sadari also, 2016. All right, and in this research, it's not current thesis. Okay, this thesis started way back in 2018. Okay, so that one is acceptable. Okay, acceptable because he started the research in 2018. So this literature 2016 is acceptable. So according to Sakadari, there is a need to build linkages between unpacked capabilities and corporate entrepreneurship that has been more reinforced in recent review and studies. Okay, this is good. Okay, because he actually added what is the gap. Okay, because it has not been done and somebody actually already mentioned. Okay, so this demand the action of the researcher. And previous scholars have used different dimension of innovation capability to address innovation practices. Okay, however, the model proposed do not consider SME specialties. Okay, this is good. Okay, so this research aimed to fill this gap by proposing a framework with which to analyze SME's innovation capability based on SME specification. So over here you can see, over here he mentioned about innovation, but the last sentence of the paragraph, innovation capabilities. Okay, be careful on that. Be consistent. If you're talking about innovation capabilities, use innovation capability throughout. Okay, because there's a difference between innovation and innovation capabilities. All right, so finally he mentioned over here, there is limited studies on corporate entrepreneurship and innovation capability, because over here the last paragraph is to wrap up the research problem. Okay, but many things actually can be done, and you guys actually can see from his framework, this is what he intended to do. Okay, corporate entrepreneurship to organizational performance with innovation capabilities as the moderator. Okay, so if you wanted, because if for example you want actually to focus on organizational performance, okay, there are so many factors actually can influence organizational performance. But you already had in mind that I want actually to explore on innovation capabilities. I think I want to explore on corporate entrepreneurship. You need to read, okay, issues relating all these topics on the practicality and theoretically. Okay, so on theory, you need actually to look up in the relationship between corporate entrepreneurship and organizational performance. Okay, innovation capability has less been discussed, has less been included. Okay, however, according to this author, this is very important. Okay, perhaps under the innovation capabilities dimension or construct, some of the construct has not been explored, which is important for logistics. So that is some of the issue you wanted to highlight. Okay, so before I go further, another example, let me actually address. Malcolm was asking what's the difference between issues and problem of the research area. So when I use word issues, actually I'm talking about problem. Okay, so basically issues, wherever there's a problem, when we talk about problem, we are talking about issues. That is the same thing. Okay, so I would like to reiterate again, in the research problem, you should have issues or problem relating to practice. Okay, what relating to practice? Okay, then another part is on the theoretical. Okay, all right. Next question from Siti Fadila. If based on the personal experience, how we are going to code? Okay, thank you for the question. Based on your personal experience, but you need actually to do research. Okay, is there anything be stated? Is there anything, somebody actually mentioned in newspaper, in event, in report, and so on? It need to be supported. Okay, so because you might not be the only one actually facing that problem. Let's say you are working in the a company. Okay, you are experiencing working. Your problem is on HR turnover, or let's say leadership succession. That's your problem faced by your company. You're having young generation who are not interested to become leader. They lack of leadership capabilities. They are more engaged. They lack of social skills and so on. You need actually to read a report. Because your personal experience triggered your interest. Okay, and you need to look out for the evidence. Okay, so you cannot actually base 100% on your experience. But once you get all the information for your research problem and so on, in your discussion and your conclusion, you can add your personal experience. Because under that topic, under discussion and conclusion, we expect your contribution. So you have carried out a research and it being verified by the data, and then you can add on your personal experience as well as your own viewpoint. Okay, next from Azrul, can we write the problem statement like this? For example, the problem is engaging decreasing every year at past, then we come up with the adverse effect from the lacking like correct. Okay, all right. When you put this one, the work engagement decreasing every year, okay, then you come up with adverse effect problem like lacking great talent and so on. Who said that work engagement relate to lacking great talent and skill? Who said that? Okay, so you need actually to find a support, and be careful. If you think the work engagement decrease because lacking great talent, you are being judgmental. Okay, so as a researcher, we should keep our viewpoint at bay. Okay, so when you carry out research, you need actually to be objective. Okay, you need actually to be neutral. Okay, because for example, if you carry out research, you already know that, I know that why actually person with disability refuse to become entrepreneur, because they are lazy. Because they like to find easy way instead of do business, carry out business activities. Might as well they go sell tissue because that's easy to make money. Do you know why they opted to do so? There could be other factors. Okay, so for example, if you ask person with disability, because I had this one respondent who lost the entire right hand. He lost that arm. Okay, so how can he actually become entrepreneur? He need to hire some people. Okay, so what kind of business that's suitable to him? Okay, so what are the factors? So we need actually to carry out research. We cannot actually simply put up our being judgmental. Okay, so for Azrul, when you mention work engagement decreasing every year for the last 5 years, you need to support with evidence. Okay, anybody actually mention all that? If you're talking about work engagement, meaning that you guys actually need to find out report from HR report from your HR institute, okay, from the newspaper and so on. Okay, next, what is the bare minimum reference needed in research problem? I would say, okay, under the problem statement, you should get not less than 10. Okay, because we're talking two parts. One is on practice, one is on theoretical. Okay, not less. Okay, but if you can get more, that would be fantastic, but not too much, because later on you need actually to explore it under literature review. Okay, some of the elements need to be discussed in literature review. In your problem statement, in terms of theoretical, you just wanted to highlight the important gap to show to people that this is a gap theoretically. That's why we need actually to carry out research. Okay, this is a problem. Okay, from the theoretical. All right. So note in the problem statement, don't utilize large number of references. You do not, if you wanted to show off, not the word show off is not suitable. In your introduction, for the first paragraph, try to put as much reference as possible to show that I have read the topic in depth. You wanted to put there a lot of references, citation, especially with the latest one. Okay. So I remember when I started my PhD, my supervisor said, when you complete your PhD, not less than 300 references. Okay. So I thought 300 is a lot. So I was thinking, oh, I'm going to die. There's a lot of references. There's a lot of paper that I need to read. I completed my PhD with my reference 450. Okay, it took me about I think 30 pages alone for my reference list. Okay, because the more you read, okay, it's like a domino effect. Once you read this article, it link to another article, and so on. All right. Okay, next. Is it sufficient to go into
Doctor,
yes?
I think just now I was trying to answer your question because my mic was not working fine. It's okay. Can just ignore that statement.
Oh, okay. Tak nak baca,
Okay, thanks, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Azura. All right. If there is a lot of research done in apps through quantitative research and no scarce research in qualitative, can this? Yes. Okay. So, for example, a study relating to let me see. Okay. A study relating to person with disability. Okay. They go through a lot of person with disability in Malaysia, they become disabled through accident. Okay, they got into accident, so they lost their limbs, they lost their vision, they lost their legs and so on. So these people, they will actually attend rehabilitation in hospital, and yet they lost their income. Okay, so a lot of research has been carried out to understand this phenomena through qualitative, okay, through interview, through observation, and so on. Because perhaps this interview or focus group, it involves a small number of people. How about other person with disability? What are the factors that might influence them? So that can be another gap as well. Okay, but that is one gap. Okay, I would not tell you that enough for your theoretical. So for example, you can mention that most of research relating to this being done in qualitative because under qualitative is very limited. Not many factors can be explored, not many, it cannot be generalized and so on. Then it can be also a gap. Okay, that's a good question. All right, let's move on to another topic. Okay, I'm going to share with you, this is my research. Okay, sustainable inclusive entrepreneurship model empowering person with disability, extending sociological entrepreneurship theory. All right, just to share with you how actually I get involved in this topic because I had a friend who's a medical doctor in the hospital. So she shared with me that and she was asking me why these people, person with disability, they lost their capabilities, their movement capabilities. So every time they go to a rehab, they refuse to keep repeating the same exercise again and again. So we were thinking that how actually we can encourage these people and to understand them, because they lost their capability, their ability, at the same time they lost their income. We need to deal not only for them to get back in terms of their capability, meaning that to be healthy, but we need actually to tackle as well their psychological issues. Okay, and they are very depressed. Okay, they are very sad to the level that we are unable actually to understand. Even though you try to put yourself into their position, you will not understand them. How about the social impact, the way the social perceptions toward these people? Okay, So we were thinking that we tried to encourage them to become, how can we encourage them to become entrepreneur? We cannot actually start a workshop. Okay, now we like that everybody, since you lost your income, let's become entrepreneur. You cannot actually jump into it. So we were thinking that to create one project, the project is pretty huge. We wanted actually to have this social innovation rehabilitation garden in one of the hospital where the person with disability, they will come for their rehab, but actually we are giving them one pot of flower or plant for them actually to mend. So for example, they need actually to exercise the movement of their feet. So by holding a scissor, they cut the leaf, they actually nurtured the plant. So eventually, every day he will be given a different task, but the task relate to the rehabilitation. So we hope that at the end of that project, the plant that he has taken care for, we can actually sell it to the public. That we can generate income. So for example, you can put label their name. For example, their name Azrai. So you can put the label Azrai. This is done by who and who. This is how much. So we can put a further label. Every time you buy this product, he will get some percentage, and some percentage will go into the fund for other PWDs. Okay, because I've seen a lot of this type of project being done in UK. And people are very receptive. We are very generous. Every time we see some of initiative like this, we are more than willing actually to contribute and donate. Kan? So we want actually to create this project, and the project need actually to involve 3 faculties. So my faculty actually, we come up with this topic, a sustainable inclusive entrepreneurship model empowering person with disabilities. Okay, so let me share with you our problem statement. Okay, so this is our problem statement. Okay, and being a country that progressive pursuing to become high income nation by 2020, and inclusivity agenda has always been the central tenet of Malaysian government, putting the marginalized group, especially those at the bottom 40 household and person of disability, among the top priority. Okay, that is the introduction. Most of the PWDs are living below the poverty. Okay, a report from World Bank stated that PWDs are more likely to experience adverse social economic outcomes such as less education, poorer health income, lower employment level, and higher poverty rate. Okay, so you need actually to put the to support. So for example, over here, you want actually to further highlight it. What are the issues? So for example, PWDs are among the marginalized community to receive financial support under budget 2020. Okay, and they are capable, but they are capable being financially independent. However, only 2.4% registered with this. This is another support. Okay, the evidence. So under Company Registration Berita Harian 2020. Okay, so the issue of employment and empowerment of PWDs has widely discussed. However, entrepreneurship has not been explored. So in Malaysia, few articles discuss on empowering PWDs, but limited to conceptual discussion. Okay, just now, so Azrul mentioned that if gap in terms of qualitative, can we actually highlight on that? So I highlighted over here, limited to conceptual discussion. Okay, or limited to university students rather than PWDs that are struggling in the real world. So you need actually to add citation. So somebody was asking that how many citations should I add? So not so many, but enough to support. So for example, over here, I put only 3, but all recent, 2017, 2018, 2019. All right. So, why actually this research is important? Because it's important to assist PWDs to get out from poverty. Okay, so that's introduction. All right. So on theoretical, okay, because I want actually to focus on social innovation. Okay, so I put a little bit introduction. Then social innovation is still new in Malaysia and focuses more on social entrepreneurship, despite innovation comprehensiveness in tackling social issues or marginalized community. So I should need, right after this sentence, I should put citation. Okay, so the majority of PWDs are still struggling to get a job and perform requisite tasks coupled with right attitude and skills. So, okay. So what else actually I wanted to highlight? The public perception of PWS does not help the involvement society to vital, morally, financially support the marginalized community. So I include the citation. Little is known about broader factors influencing social entrepreneurship for people with PWS. Besides social perception, issues, psychological issue, blah, 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 and this one. Okay, over here, because I pick up this from my executive summary, okay, I need actually to put citation over here. Okay, for example, sociological entrepreneurship theory being used, but what is not being added. Okay, so I need actually to add more on citation on that part. All right. Okay, let's do another exercise. Okay, this is a current issue. Okay, we would like to choose one of the current issue. Let me see what. Okay, let's say we choose this topic. Okay, depression among elementary school children. Okay, so the first thing I need to do, I get information expected 4 million elementary school children are going to suffer depression silently by 2030. So I need actually to get evidence of this statement. So I need to read, explore, investigate. What else? Who actually has done the study? I need to read in the broader perspective. Read articles from other countries. Okay, other countries, the recent report and so on. And it can be report relating to university student. It can be a report relating to secondary students and so on. Okay, but I need to get as much information as possible and then narrow it down. Elementary school children. Is it because this report, if I'm not mistaken, because I got it from one of the PhD student, I think 5 years ago. Okay, she mentioned this to me, so I find it very interesting. But she actually come up with another type of research because she's from art and music. She's from theatre, one of the theatre production director. Okay, so read, explore, investigate. Okay, on this topic, and this is from the perspective of practice. Okay, so you wanted to highlight. If, for example, by 2030, 4 million. Okay, these 4 million later on, when they become teenagers, they become adult. What is consequences to the country? Why actually this study is very important? Okay, because they suffer silently. Countries like Korea, country like Singapore, student as young as 10 years old, 8 years old, already committed suicide. Okay, I've not heard it in Malaysia yet, but perhaps if this issue is not being tackled, it could be happening in Malaysia. Okay, so you do not want actually, you wanted to highlight the importance of this topic. Then that is on the practice. Okay, on your right hand side, read from the literature. So for example, Chiang et al. 2020, they had done this research in China. Okay, you et al., they already carried out this research also in China. Okay, Ratana Siripong had done the research in Thailand. Okay, and you compare all this model, and for example, the first model, Ratana Siripong model, they use stress, social support, and self-esteem. Okay, and from Chiang, they use family stress and academic stress. Okay, from you, okay, let's see, you use other elements as well. Where is family role, counselor role? Also, for example, you think that is important. Why actually it's not being included? Okay, you read literature. Okay, is this important? Actually contribute to depression, actually contribute to the academic performance. So by actually comparing few literature, few models, you can see the gap. Okay, so this is what we meant by looking from other past literature and try to come up with your new. Okay, we in research, I would normally propose students adopt and adapt. Okay, so for example, you have seen model by other previous studies and you improvise that model because we are talking about the current situation. So for example, other people using other theory, but you think that that theory is outdated, that theory is not relevant in your perspective. So for example, if you are a researcher in Malaysia, it's not suitable in Malaysia scenario, so other theory is more suitable, so you might actually as implore on that. Okay, so this is basically when we talk about problem statement, you are exploring on the practice context and also on theoretical. And both of these parts should be in your problem statement. So when people read your problem statement, they know that, oh, in practice it's happening. No, it's happening. Okay, it need to be tackled. And from the perspective of literature, these are the relevant, important variable that perhaps can address this issue. Okay, and also contribute to the knowledge. For example, if you were to include the role of a counselor, for example, or the role of a peer support should be included. But in the literature review, the current literature review has not include peer support. Peer support at an elementary level, some people might thought, I don't think so is relevant, but now it's different. Friends play a very important role in our children's life. Okay, so that perhaps your contribution in terms of body of knowledge. So whatever model that you come out, that you add, you improve that model, that is going to be the contribution to the body of knowledge. All right, so we're coming towards the end of the presentation. The final check on your problem statement. Is it relevant? Is it interesting? Is it focused and specific? Is it researchable? If you can answer all these 4 questions, meaning that you have good research problem. Once you have good research problem, nobody going to ask you on your research question, your research objective, your significance, as well as your hypothesis. You can have a smooth journey because you already know that this is what I know what's the problem. Okay, I know what's a gap. Okay, this is a gap that I wanted actually to explore. Okay, and all the relationship between one variable to another variable, not simply do you plug in, but you read literature. Okay, so again, if there is no problem, there is no research. Okay, that is the gist. So guys, research is a journey. Okay, travel it well. Okay, I would promise you, I can guarantee you, the end of the journey is so sweet, no words can describe. Okay, so that journey makes you a better person, make you wiser, make you stronger, make you better. Okay, and searching for knowledge is to find your wisdom. You're going to be wiser. So don't never ever back up doing your research. Never ever back up from your journey. If you need support, you have your peer, you have your supervisors. Don't keep it to yourself, okay? Because some people call PhD is a lonely journey. It's never lonely. Okay, trust me, it's never lonely. It's a really fun journey. Other than that, I would like actually to share my attitude. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for those questions. Okay, and I hope this session would back to give you some of the glimpse. Okay, and the information is out there. There are so many information relating to research problem that you can read. Okay, but at the end of the day, go and talk to your supervisors. They are there for the purpose. Okay, don't keep it to yourself. The more you keep to yourself, you're going to be very sad. You're going to be very lonely. Okay. Then other than that, thank you very much. Okay, so please fill up the attendance. Okay. Okay. If any questions, I would like to open to the floor. If you have any questions. Yes. Yeah. Any question? Who's shut? Okay, don't worry. If you have any questions, you actually can share with Sarah. Perhaps Sarah actually can contact me. But I think I would like actually to share my gratitude as well to the faculty for taking this initiative for sharing. When I did my PhD, wherever the faculty organize any talk, any seminar, I never fail to attend because I believe that even though I know about that topic, at least I can get 10%, 20%, 30%, 50% new information. Because as a good researcher, we need to keep our mind open and to learn. And I would like actually to mention to you as well. Okay, I think on the 18th of May, I'm going to have another session for more on motivation. Okay, motivation to encourage you to keep your feet, okay, in completing the research. Okay, then other than that, I will share my slide with Sarah. Okay. Hussein, do you have any question?
Assalamu alaikum. Very good morning, teacher. I have no question actually. I just would like to say thank you for the beautiful way of addressing the research problem. I am one of the students who's already on the close to the end of the journey. So I'm very happy to attend this just to get refreshment of the problem statement. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Because I know most of the students over here, I know most of you are already towards the end of your journey. And I would like actually to encourage for those people who just started, reach out to your senior. They are more than happy to share their insight, their motivation. Okay, some of the information might indirectly contribute or solve your problem, but talking to other peers is very important. So and I think again, somebody mentioned over here to don't keep it to yourself. And for your information, study have been carried out in UiTM. 60% of PhD students that fail to complete PhD were male, not female, male. That is another research need to be carried out. Okay, further research. Okay, all right. Other than that, I wish you guys all the best. Okay, and I wish to see you on the convocation day on the hooding. So I hope you can excel not only on your PhD, but the right after your PhD. I wish you all the best, and remember, this searching for knowledge is something that very beneficial, very